He was the creative force behind one of rock's most legendary bands. A man whose lyrics, vision, and bass lines defined a generation. But now, at 80, Roger Waters has finally spoken out about the bitter and complicated truth behind Pink Floyd's breakup, a story of rivalry, betrayal, and artistic clashes that fans have speculated about for decades. What he reveals is raw, unfiltered, and shocking, exposing the human conflicts that tore apart a band revered worldwide. Pink Floyd's rise to fame was meteoric. From the psychedelic explorations of the Piper at the Gates of Dawn to the epic defining the dark side of the moon and the wall. The band became synonymous with musical innovation, lyrical depth, and theatrical ambition. Roger Waters, as the bassist and primary lyricist during the band's most iconic era, was central to its creative vision. Yet behind the albums that captivated millions was a story of tension, ego clashes, and creative disagreements that would ultimately lead to a fracturing of the band's unity. Fans had long speculated about the reasons for Pink Floyd's dissolution, and Waters' recent revelations finally put those rumors into context with more complexity, bitterness, and emotional intensity than anyone imagined. Waters recounts the years of escalating tension with David Gilmour, Richard Wright, and Nick Mason. What began as subtle disagreements over creative direction grew into a full-blown battle for control of the band's identity. Waters describes a period when the music, once a unifying force, became a battlefield, each member asserting their vision and struggling for recognition. While Gilmour's guitar work and Wright's keyboards added immeasurable texture to Pink Floyd's sound, Waters felt increasingly responsible for the thematic cohesion of their work, particularly on projects like The Wall, where his conceptual ambitions dominated the creative process. The friction was inevitable, and it became impossible to reconcile artistic vision with personal relationships. Beyond creative conflicts, Waters reveals that communication broke down completely in the band's later years. Meetings that were meant to be collaborative turned into arguments. Recording sessions became arenas for power struggles. Even small decisions, from song arrangements to live performance choices, escalated into disputes. Waters' recounting of these conflicts exposes the human side of legendary artists: brilliant, egotistical, emotional, and deeply committed to their vision, yet unable to compromise when stakes were highest. It's a side of Pink Floyd rarely glimpsed in public, where fans saw only the music, the albums, and the ethereal stage shows. Financial and managerial pressures further complicated matters. As Pink Floyd's success grew, so did the stakes, with millions of dollars, extensive tours, and contractual obligations, adding strain. Waters admits that disagreements over ownership, royalties, and creative credit exacerbated the already tense atmosphere, while the band produced some of the most iconic music of the 20th century. The personal costs were high, and the eventual breakup was almost inevitable. The dissolution was not a sudden explosion, but a slow, painful unraveling of relationships, trust, and mutual respect, a truth that makes their later reunions, however brief, all the more poignant. Ultimately, Waters' account paints a vivid portrait of human complexity behind the music. Pink Floyd's end was not the result of a single moment or a single person's fault, but of intertwined personalities, conflicting ambitions, and the pressures of unprecedented fame. It reminds fans that even genius is not immune to human flaws, and that art, while eternal, is created by people navigating their own egos, emotions, and relationships. At 80, Roger Waters' revelations about Pink Floyd's breakup offer more than insight into a legendary band. They expose the human cost of artistic brilliance. Behind the albums that changed music forever were battles, betrayals, and heartbreaks that shaped the legacy as much as the songs themselves. The truth is both shocking and deeply human, reminding us that even legends are fallible, and that sometimes the greatest stories of creativity are also the most tragic.